Namaste, angels. I'm here to do the weekly general reading for tomorrow, Sunday, September 17th through Saturday coming, September 23rd. And I apologize for the delay for those of you who were waiting for it. I know some of you do actually look forward to getting in the morning. So for that, I do apologize. To those of you, I do apologize. Honestly, after, even from yesterday, like I wasn't pushed and pressed to do it. And I just sort of am doing it now in accordance with the guidance. And, you know, those of you who've been watching me for a while, y'all know me. And it's more and more true every day. Like, I don't do this for, you know, I'm not beat for likes. I'm not here doing this for anybody who just want, you know, there are people who are truly and legitimately, genuinely on the journey. And that's for whom I'm here. And there are others who just want to, you know, see readings. So they're looking to be lied to, you know, by somebody who is making stuff up anyway. So it fits, it works on both sides. Both people are satisfied. And, you know, that's not why I'm here. I'm here for people who are legitimately on the journey. And so for those of you who were looking for the guidance earlier in the day, I apologize, but I simply did not do it because I wasn't moved to. I was moved to do other things today. I actually did a lot of prayer, a lot of rebuking of negativity and all that kind of stuff, not for myself, but on a more collective level. I did a lot of healing work for other people, either by way of energy work or readings. And, you know, that's not something that I would normally do on a Saturday. I don't do readings and stuff. I usually finish all the readings that I have and post them by Saturday evening. But, you know, like I said, it is what it is. This is the way it happened this week. So I am sorry to those of you who were disappointed. And other than that, we're moving on. So as far as the Hebrew calendar this week, it's a very, very important day that falls on Thursday. Thursday is Rosh Hashanah, which would be the Jewish New Year. So the first day of the year. Now, since I've been going over the Hebrew months with you and the Jewish calendar with you, I've been talking about both. Both this calendar, this current Jewish calendar, and the more ancient one that begins counting from Nisan as the first month. This is the month of Tishri. So they are two separate months. And so this is counting from a different place, where September, October, is the first month. Now, in addition to it being Rosh Hashanah, it is also the first day of the month of Tishri in the year 5778, because it's New Year. So all year I've been saying it's year 5777 on the Hebrew calendar. So yeah, it's a new year now. On that same day, on the Christian calendar, is the feast day of Saint Matthew, the evangelist, the apostle. So that's pretty heavy. That's a lot of really really heavy spiritual energy on one day. And guess what else? New moon in Virgo, same day. So the 21st, very, very high energy, you know, without me even going into anything else and explaining anything. I'm sure you guys would all agree just from those things. The way the Hebrew calendar works, and this Rosh Hashanah, it's also the first day of the days of repentance leading up to Yom Kippur, which is the 30th, and the 10th day of remembrance. So although Yom Kippur in itself is a holiday, it is also one of the days of repentance. And so at this time of month, it's no longer Elul. So remember, at the end of Elul was when we were supposed to begin to, if we hadn't already, turn around toward one another, face one another, and maybe even run into each other's arms. And that's been happening, at least with my clients this week. I had one, she's so funny. She's a Gemini like me. So, we relate on that. And she had been feeling some things going on in her own life, improvements, and then I guess hit a low. Well, we had, or at least as far as what she was able to notice, visibly a low. And she said that she hadn't heard from her divine masculine. I said, it's probably Mercury retrograde. And that's what's holding people up. And that's what's been holding, particularly, I think, Geminis up in a lot of cases. And as soon as it went direct, that changed. And then she got back to me this week and said, that they had talked, just everything had happened for her, just as it had in the reading, which several other people actually inboxed me and said the same thing. But just as it had happened in the reading, everything had happened for her. And they had a date set for Sunday, so tomorrow. So that's really sweet too. That's not what I was going to tell you about Divine Light Cleanse this week. There's so much. Everybody is doing so phenomenally well. I had one client the other day, because it's different for everybody. I had one client the other day, he says, wow, because what I saw in him had nothing to do with his divine masculine. I mean, I cleared away whatever they needed cleared away so that they could flow. But what I saw was more physical, medical issue in him. I saw high blood pressure. I saw vitamin deficiencies, specific vitamins. I listed them for him, and I told him about the high blood pressure and how he needed to change his diet and all this kind of stuff. And he said, oh my God, that's really been going on in my life. So he got a diagnosis, basically a medical diagnosis, along with spiritual and emotional and mental, therapy and healing for $111. As a matter of fact, no, because I wanted I wanted everybody to have it so badly that I had done another flash sale right before the eclipse. And that's when he purchased it. So for $77, we got to, he got to get confirmation on some things that he was feeling about his own health. In any case, that's not what I was talking about. I deviated into Divine Light Cleanse because it just, it is, as one of my clients said, not me, it is saving lives, saving lives. The Christian calendar, St. Matthew, the evangelist, and that's the only spiritual, I guess, holiday of Christianity this week, or major. On the 24th, so Sunday, the day after the last day of our reading, is Our Lady of Mercy. So we'll talk about that. And there's a bunch of stuff going on next week too. The 29th is one of my most favorites. It is Michaelmas, the Feast of St. Michael, but it's also been that date, that's not his original feast day, and it's been changed to a day where we celebrate actually Saints Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael. So another thing that you guys who've been watching me for a while know that Raphael and Chamuel and Michael in great part live in my house. So it's really, special for me. All right, let me tell you a little bit about St. Matthew. This is from www.catholic.org. Little is known about St. Matthew except that he was the son of Alphaeus, Alpheus, and he was likely born in Galilee. He worked as a tax collector, which was a hated profession during the time of Christ. And it reminds me of myself because I have that accounting degree, 2 accounting degrees. According to the gospel, Matthew was working at a collection booth in Capernaum when Christ came to him and asked, "Follow me." With this simple call, Matthew became a disciple of Christ. From Matthew, we know of many doings of Christ and the message Christ spread of salvation for all people who come to God through him. The gospel account of Matthew tells the same story as that found in the other 3 gospels, so scholars are certain of its authenticity. His book is the first of the 4 gospels in the New Testament. Many years following the death of Christ, around 41 and 50 AD, Matthew wrote his gospel account. He wrote the book in Aramaic in the hope that his account would convince his fellow people that Jesus was the Messiah and that his kingdom had been fulfilled in a spiritual way. It was an important message at a time when almost everyone was expecting the return of a militant Messiah brandishing a sword. So they were looking for Archangel Michael, maybe. He is the AKA the sword in the scriptures. It is thought he departed for other lands to escape persecution sometime around 42 AD. According to various legends, he fled to Parthia and Persia or Ethiopia. Nothing is recorded of Matthew's passing. We don't know how he died, if his death was natural or if he was martyred. St. Matthew is often depicted with one of the four living creatures of Revelation 4:7, which reads, "The first living creature was like a lion, the second like a bull, the third living creature had a human face, and the fourth living creature was like a flying eagle." If you can put those pieces together, I'm actually of the mind that the four living creatures are the same as the four horsemen, are in different vibrations, are the same as the four major archangels, are the same as, continues. I could go on and on and on with the list of how they recreate themselves in different vibrations, and that's what seraphim do actually. In any case, Matthew was a tax collector and is therefore the patron saint of bankers. The church established St. Matthew's feast day as September 21st. Here's a prayer to St. Matthew. O glorious St. Matthew, in your gospel you portray Jesus as the longed-for Messiah who fulfilled the prophets of the Old Covenant, and as the new lawgiver who founded a church of the New Covenant. Obtain for us the grace to see Jesus living in his church and to follow his teachings in our lives on earth so that we may live forever with him in heaven. Amen. And with that, I'll move on to the Jewish month of Tishrei. Tishrei, now it's spelled, I guess, traditionally by Jews, Tishrei, but I've also seen it without the E. Tishrei, the first month of the Jewish year, bridges the summer and autumn months. It's a time for renewal and introspection as we begin a new year. The month of Tishrei is full of monumentous and meaningful days of celebration, beginning with the high holidays. In this month, we celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the 10 days of repentance, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchat Torah. Each one is filled with its own meaningful customs and rituals. Some are serious, awesome days set aside for reflection and soul searching, and some are joyous days full of happy and cheerful celebration. But all of these days throughout the month of Tishrei are opportunities to connect, to be inspired, and to become more fulfilled and in tune with our true inner selves. So similar to Elul, we have to go within. Tishrei is considered the head of the year and the reservoir from which we draw our strength and inspiration throughout the year ahead. That's the way time is described in the Bible, or specific times. It's like the head of the month, the head of the year. So the beginning, the first or whatever. Take advantage of the opportunities this month and make every day significant. May it be a year of happiness, health, peace, and prosperity. And what is Rosh Hashanah? This is from Shabbat.org. And they do it as like a what, when, where. So the first is what? It is the birthday of the universe. Okay, so according to, again, the Hebrew calendar, because also it said that the birthday of the universe, or the day of creation, is October 23rd. And there was even a court case about it. You can Google that. What? It is the birthday of the universe, the day God created Adam and Eve, and it's celebrated as the head of the Jewish year. When? The first 2 days of the Jewish New Year, Tishrei 1 and 2, beginning at sundown on the eve of Tishrei 1. You can check out this date's year by Googling that, it says. And how is it celebrated? Candle lighting in the evenings, festive meals with sweet delicacies during the night and day, prayer services that include the sounding of the ram's horn or shofar, S-H-O-F-A-R. This happens on both mornings, and we also desist from creative work. The Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, actually means head of the year. Just like the head, it controls the body. Our actions on Rosh Hashanah have a tremendous impact on the rest of the year. As we read in the Rosh Hashanah prayers each year on this day, quote, all inhabitants of the world pass before God like a flock of sheep, end quote. And it is decreed in the heavenly court, quote, who shall live and who shall die, who shall be impoverished and who shall be enriched, who shall fall and who shall rise, end quote. It is a day of prayer, a time to ask the Almighty to grant us a year of peace, prosperity, and blessing. But it's also a joyous day when we proclaim God, King of the universe. The Kabbalists teach that the continued existence of the universe depends on God's desire for a world, a desire that is renewed when we accept his kingship anew each year on Rosh Hashanah. So what is it called? Well, the most common name for this holiday is Rosh Hashanah, the name used in the eponymous tractate of the Talmud devoted to the holiday. The Torah refers to this day as Yom Teruah, Teruah, day of shofar blowing. In our prayers, we often call it Yom HaZikaron, day of remembrance, and Yom Hadin, day of judgment, since this is the day when God recalls all of his creations and determines their fate for the year ahead. Together, Yom Kippur, which follows 10 days later, is part of the Yamim Noraim, days of awe or high holy days. And they go on to describe other things, the greetings and what candles to use and what kind of meals to eat. And all you guys who are interested in that can find it on Chabad.org, Chabad.org. What else do I want to talk about though? Well, how about what else is going on as far as astronomy? Nope, astrology, because that's simpler. So the one that we've all been waiting for, I had started talking about Mercury already. Well, it finally leaves shadow, or it finally ends on September 19th. That is the real last day. Also on September 19th, Venus in Virgo. But speaking of Venus and Mercury and all that kind of stuff, today, for those of you who are Geminis like me, and especially if you're Geminis with a chart like mine that also contains Uranus and Venus, heavily, which mine does because I'm having Aquarius moon, which is ruled by Uranus, and a Leo rising, I am. Today, we have the Leo moon in the third house of communication for Geminis, and Venus and Uranus are also there. So if you think that you can, talk the socks off somebody in a normal time, today you might be able to get everything off of them. In any case, so that's 9/19. Venus in Virgo, so it won't be in Gemini anymore at that time. And also Mercury in Virgo, last day of shadow, last day of retrograde, completely. The next day, the 20th, is the new moon in Virgo. So I already went over that briefly, just recapping that. September 22nd is the first day of Libra, or sun in Libra. Some people don't actually recognize the zodiac until the 23rd, but sun in Libra is the 22nd. And that's it for this week as far as astrology. Now I'll do astronomy from astronomy.com, beginning with Sunday, September 17th. The waning crescent moon points forward 3 planets and stars this morning. The slim crescent stands 6 degrees above magnitude -3.9 Venus, with Leo, the lion's luminary, magnitude 1.4 Regulus, 3 degrees below the planet. Mars and Mercury huddle at 11 degrees below Venus. This evening provides a nice opportunity to see Saturn's 7 brightest moons through a telescope. The toughest to spot normally are the 2 inner ones, Mimas, M-I-M-A-S, and Enceladus, E-N-C-E-L-A-D-U-S, which never stray far from the ring's glare. But tonight, the 2 satellites reach greatest elongation within 2 hours of each other. Tethys Dion, Rhea, and Titan show up more clearly because they glow brighter and lie farther from the planet. Distant Iapetus rounds out Saturn's magnificent seven, and all seven satellites will be on display. If you draw a line from Saturn to 8th magnitude Titan and extend it an equal distance, 11th magnitude Iapetus will be right there. Monday, September 18th, so tomorrow. The pre-dawn fireworks appear even more spectacular this morning. A wafer-thin crescent moon hangs below Venus and above the Mercury-Mars pair. The latter two worlds are now separated by only 1.5 degrees. So tomorrow, Monday, September 18th, Mercury and Mars sort of like that, and Venus here like a triangle, like the two of them fighting for her attention. That's how I'm picturing it, at least. Tuesday, September 19th. Again, the last day of the Mercury retrograde. It will be leaving its shadow in Virgo. Uranus reaches opposition 1 month from today, but it already has become a tempting evening target. The ice giant world rises before 9 p.m. local daylight time and climbs some 30 degrees above the eastern horizon by 11 p.m. The magnitude 5.7 planet lies in Pisces, 1.1 degree northwest of magnitude 4.3 Omicron. Although Uranus glows brightly enough to see with the naked eye under a dark sky, binoculars make the task much easier. A telescope reveals the planet's blue-green disk, which spans 3.7 inches. So I'm not sure if you guys heard all those 11s, but there were quite a few. Including the 1.1. That's an 11 to me, at least looking at it. And it happens at 11 p.m. Moving on. Anyway, Wednesday, September 20th, the new moon occurs at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At its new phase, the moon crosses the sky with the sun and so remains hidden in our star's glare. Thursday, September 21st, although you can't see the moon around its new phase, its absence from the morning sky these next 2 weeks, provides observers with an excellent opportunity to view the zodiacal light. From the northern hemisphere, early autumn is the best time for viewing this elusive glow before sunrise. It appears slightly fainter than the Milky Way, so you'll need a clear moonless sky, an observing site located far from the city. Look for a cone-shaped glow that points nearly straight up from the eastern horizon shortly before morning twilight begins, which is around 5 a.m. local daylight time at mid-northern latitudes. The moon remains out of the morning sky until October 4th, when the waxing gibbous world returns and overwhelms the much fainter zodiacal light. Friday, September 22nd. With the days growing shorter and kids back to school, it shouldn't be surprising that summer's reign is just about over. The warmest season comes to an official close at 4:02 p.m. This happens Eastern Daylight Time. When Earth reaches the autumnal equinox, this marks the moment when the sun crosses the celestial equator, traveling south. Our star rises due east and sets due west today. If the sun were a point of light and Earth had no atmosphere, everyone would get 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness. But the air and finite size of our star make today a few minutes longer than 12 hours. The moon appears as a waxing crescent low in the west-southwest during evening twilight. Tonight, you can use it as a guide for finding Jupiter. Although the gas giant planet has been a conspicuous evening object for the past several months, it's now nearing the end of its reign. The giant planet lies 8 degrees to the lower right of the moon, but just 6 degrees above the horizon, a half hour after sundown. Still at a magnitude of -1.7, Jupiter shines brightly enough to appear prominent against the twilight glow. And lastly, Saturday, September 23rd, or the last day of our week, the variable star Algol, Algol, in Perseus, as in the flying the guy with the winged feet, reaches minimum brightness at 2:56 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Observers on the East Coast who start watching around mid-evening on the 22nd can see the star's brightness diminish by 70% over the course of about 5 hours. Those in Western North America will see Algol brighten noticeably from late evening until dawn starts to paint the sky when the star passes nearly overhead. This eclipsing binary system runs through a cycle from minimum magnitude 3.4 to maximum magnitude 2.1, and then back every 2.87 days. And then finally, Sunday, September 24th. Although autumn arrived with the equinox 2 days ago, the summer triangle remains prominent in the evening sky. Look high in the west after darkness falls, and your eyes will fall on the brilliant star Vega in the constellation Lyra the Harp. At a magnitude of 0.0, Vega is the brightest member of the triangle. The second brightest star, magnitude 0.8 Altair in Aquila the Eagle, lies some 35 degrees southeast of Vega. The asterism's dimmest member, magnitude 1.3 Deneb in Cygnus the Swan, stands about 25 degrees east-northeast of Vega. For observers at the mid-northern latitudes, Deneb passes through the zenith around 9:30 p.m. local daylight time, more than an hour after the last vestiges of twilight disappear. And with that, let's get to our reading here. I didn't pull out the dice. One sec. Okay, here they are. Let's see what we're starting with. 29. So spiritual partnership. Stay in bed and try again. Spirit says party. Continue to stay in bed. Maybe party naked. That used to be a saying. And email. We can do that from bed. And with that, speaking of email and possible communication, I'm beginning with the 8 of Fire. Events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over and many things are happening at once. This card come up not only when there's communication or other movement in the situation, but where there had been nothing going on prior. Like, it was stagnant, and all of a sudden, boom, 8 of Fire. Speaking of 8s, open into the 8 of Water, a desire to move on. So speaking of not only 8s, but movement. Wands are all about movement. This card guides us to move on. It's also the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. 8 of Water. Open into the 4 of Air. Time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time before making a decision. Meditation may provide answers. 4 of Air. And the 10 of Earth, a very happy family life. Financial security, finding magic in the little things in life. You may have to make a decision about that, or maybe we're able to take a family vacation even though summer's over. Maybe we had some kind of deal with that. You know what, on this note, I'm going to go ahead and cut, as you can see. And it's the Emperor with Archangel Michael. Organization and logic, structure and discipline, leadership. The Emperor is in Aries, or represents the sign of Aries, the planet Mars. For me, at least, I connect the cards to planets first and zodiac signs or people and stuff second. So the planet Mars, so maybe Scorpio I'm hearing too. Although we didn't hear anything about that when I was talking about the planets or anything. I'm feeling Scorpio too. Mars is also a ruler of Scorpio. Somebody's father can be particularly, or some sort of authority, particularly impactful, important this week. I'm not getting anything negative, at least not right now. I just heard birthday, so maybe it's limited to a select few. Somebody's father's birthday is this week, and I'm to recognize him. But also, you know what? Happy birthday to though the last of the Virgos, and to the Libras, because that falls into this week. We just went over that. And on that note, speaking of Virgo, the page of Earth is our overall energy. And the page actually represents Virgo for me, because Virgo of the Earth element is the quote unquote immature one, the more youthful. So when I pick up the page, it does say Virgo to me. Good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging and maybe even a new area of study. Some of us may be starting school, or our kids may be starting school, or, taking up something new. Like maybe we started already, but we're diving in now. Like now it's really happening. And I got that person, that authority. They could be somebody's professor or something too, somebody's teacher that's like a father figure, but it's not your father. Anyway. The masculine this week, this is not one of my favorites. The Five of Air, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. The Five of Air for me, fives are about change, and they can be about challenges. It can be about change that's challenging, like getting there, it's difficult. But this card in particular for me is about us having had like a hand in our own conflict, even if it wasn't on purpose. Like we brought it, people say, well, you did that to yourself. Well, good for you. Like you brought it upon yourself. That's what the Five of Air is to me. So even if it was like inadvertent, that's not what we meant to happen. Some action or something that we took that was like unnecessary led to Five of Air. And he's surrounded by the Two of Earth. Too much going on at once. The need to make a decision. Consider a more playful approach. The Two of Earth can be about the need for balance, the need to figure out how to make time for both work and play. Deja vu from hell for me. That Rihanna song plays in my head every single time I pick up this card, take a bow. It's like, why are we here again in the same spot? And maybe that's what this is. Maybe the masculine is going through like, how did I fuck up again, basically, and end up with this Five of Air. That's a possibility. Let's see what else we get. Eight of Water in his subconscious, a desire to move on and the search for something more meaningful, spiritual and emotional growth. So absolutely, he can feel like, why can't I get past this stage, this point? Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep ending up in these situations? I want this to stop. I want to be able to move on already. Feminine, Two of Air. Being unable or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there's no problem. This is like if I don't open my mail, I won't have to pay the bill, like it'll go away. Untrue. The feminine is surrounded by the Four of Air. So it's like decision staring you in the face, like you have to make it. Time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time before making a decision. Meditation may provide answers. So you might need to go within, like we just heard in the story, in order to figure this out, because decision has to be made. And it may be in response to this. Maybe in response to this. Let's see what else we get. Three of Fire in the feminine subconscious. Abundance. Things look very good. Have patience at this time and make long-term plans. Well, it can absolutely be about abundance, and we can be thinking about, what we're going to do with some money, making plans for it, spending it before we get it. We can be thinking about how we're going to manifest it in the first place. But this can also be a party of three, and potentially of a romantic nature that we're thinking about. Maybe that's where the masculine went wrong, some sort of party of three situation. And we're thinking about that. What am I going to do with this fool? I kid. But you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do with you? When you want to like pluck somebody in the head, like, again, like that sort of feeling is what I'm getting right now. And very possible, because here's another five, but this five is the High Priest, or the Unity card, the Hierophant. So can absolutely be about commitment, and the feminine can be debating whether or not to enter commitment after the masculine has acted like a knucklehead. Traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seek out mentors and like-minded friends. You may need to speak to somebody more of an authority, feminine. You may need, maybe that's where that father figure was coming in. Whether it's your professor, your actual father, or anybody else from whom you feel you could get sound advice. Maybe that's what you're guided to do. Getting back to the school and the professor, the Hierophant or High Priest or Unity card also can have to do with higher institutions of learning. So it may be about school, a decision that has to be made, what classes to take, what, in what to major and all that kind of stuff. Masculine for you, you may need to think about changing your friends or like with whom or by what you surround yourself. That can be what this card is about. And if you're making poor choices, maybe it's based on your peers or your environment or something, and you may need to change. That can have to do with work too. Like maybe it's time for a new job. Maybe it's time to go back to school and, not work if you can swing that, like financial aid or some sort of program, a scholarship or something like that. Maybe it's time to try to figure out how you can juggle. Two of Earth can be about juggling. Juggle both. And at the root, the 10 of Earth, a very happy family life, financial security, and finding magic in the little things in life. So these decisions and plans we're making can be all about this. Like, how do I achieve this? How do I get to this? Is what seems to be coming through. And at the heart of the matter, interesting. I said I was feeling Scorpio. And here we have the Queen of Water. Out of all these cards, all of a sudden, boom, here's the Queen of Water at the heart of the matter. She is tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving. And the Queen of Water specifically tends to represent the sign of Scorpio, although obviously it can be any water sign, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition, care for yourself and others. So, getting back to where I was saying there may need to be a decision about the relationship, about the masculine, or for you, about the feminine. And maybe you're conflicted masculine. Maybe you need to go within and figure out how you're going to do this. How can I juggle? How can I do what I have to do? Live my life and make sure that I fit time in for my relationship in order to navigate it properly. Let's see what the Ascended Masters would add to this message, beginning with detach from drama and Pallas Athena. So I think we can assume already that there's a message in here for the masculine, like whatever this is, leave this alone. Even if you're conflicted with yourself, like release that and like let's move into a place that's more positive and loving and nurturing, like this water energy and perhaps specifically Scorpio energy. Mars's more emotional side. Detach from drama and choose peace. Yes, exactly what I was saying. Even when there's a difficult situation, trying to approach it in as considerate and compassionate a way as we can, right? Being as loving and tenderhearted and empathetic as we're able, even in a situation like this where there's drama and we're telling people, listen, we can't even kick it no more. We can do that in a nice way. Detach from drama. Father, husband, brother, son. Well, this could be that emperor guy, right? The father that I was feeling. This can also be yourself still. This can be the need to go within and heal and better get to know your own inner masculine. Same goes for you, feminine. This can be for us as well. Or there can be a relationship with a masculine energy in our life with whom we need to heal a situation, a circumstance, or maybe the whole relationship. And that may mean walking away from it. That may mean detaching not only from drama, but from the person or, whatever the circumstance is. Detach from drama. Right, says Thought. We could be paper. This could be divorce, even though like Libra's not here. Justice is not here. We could be writing somebody off. one way or another. This could be papers, divorce papers. This could be something going on under the moon. We make a decision with the new moon, a new me. What's that thing? New year, new me that people say every year, on December 31st. Well, this is a new year too. Rosh Hashanah is on Thursday. So this can be new year, new me too. Detach from drama. I'm going to cut. You can do it, says Archangel Michael. The overall energy is listen. So maybe like a queen of water would, right? Listen carefully to your intuition before you make a decision, before you make a move, before you, quote, as we used to say, come out your face like wrong. Listen. This could be listening to one's heart too, with regard to a relationship with the Queen of Water sitting here underneath the Hierophant. Atop the 5 of air is the power of joy. So whatever it is that would bring you joy, about whatever it is you're conflicted, right? The drama, leave that alone. Even if it's what you feel like you're supposed to do or what society says you're supposed to do or whatever's causing you this conflict is not bringing you joy. Let this go, whatever it is. And you will be happy. That will open the opportunity, vacate the space for whatever does, float your boat. Atop the 2 of earth is fertility and Pan. So not only the birth of something new, maybe, and a bunch of energy to perhaps juggle 2 things, 2 situations, and be able to have time for both, but maybe even some sexy time too. You can fit that in. And atop the 8 of water, and this moving on to like a higher elevation, that too opens up for you the flow of prosperity. That brings about the power of joy as well. As soon as we let go of, that which is hindering us, including fear and our own lack of self-confidence and doubt and all of that's coming from within, being conflicted in oneself. As soon as we detach from the drama with us, you ever heard that saying, you got a lot of shit with you? Let's you have the drama with you. As soon as we can get away from that, the power of joy. Feminine. Priorities. We got a decision to make. Pick one. Whichever one is more important and is going to impact your life more greatly. Again, similar to what I told the masculine, despite whatever society says you're supposed to do, or even your father or whomever it is that's giving you advice, whatever the case may be, do what is best for you, basically, most simply put. And if you need to take time to meditate in order to figure that out, then that's what you're guided to do as well, here with the 4 of air. And atop the 4 of air, see the other person's point of view is one of the things you're going to consider while you're taking that time to yourself to figure things out. Look at the other person's perspective as well. That's what a air sign would do. Atop the 3 of fire, speaking of air signs, thought is back, and write. So I think you're writing one of these, whatever this is, if it's a person, if it's a third choice, you got to make a decision. This is the thing, you're writing this off, whatever it is, to only leave these 2 that are more symmetric to one another. This one doesn't even fit. Right? It's off to the side or whatever. It is not symmetric to these. So this one we're going to write off. I'm going to let go. Atop unity, which represents the sign of Taurus and earth. We get this very earthy card, the green man. So when this shows up, we do need to spend some time in nature and communing with nature, meditating. It's here crossing the 4 of air for the feminine and the meditating. It's here crossing the 2 of earth For the masculine, where he needs to figure out what he's going to do, he may have a decision to make as well. The Two of Earth can mean that too. So we're definitely going to want to get outside whatever archetype you are, in order to spend some time with nature. And that too is going to open up the flow of prosperity, because whenever the green man shows up, he's notifying us of abundance. Now, as it relates to possibly a higher institution like school, this can be somebody's financial aid coming through, or getting a loan, a grant, a scholarship, like I was saying before. And as it relates to romance and commitment and stuff, this can be an abundance of love, an abundance of what you've been looking for, out of a relationship. No more of the Five of Earth that means lack, right? The Five of Earth of the minor arcana represents lack. This Five of Earth of the major arcana, the Hierophant, means, abundance, especially when coupled with the green man. You see, he has this heart here. It's very, he's like the male equivalent of a Venus, like god of both love and money. Here, atop the Ten of Earth, in this card with your family, father, husband, brother, son, Osiris. Somebody's father may be leaving them something too, giving them something, money. There could be a estate. Maybe that's what it is, some sort of contract, some sort of papers for some of us, and that the Hierophant would represent that too, some sort of legal matter. Estate keeps popping up. But something like that. Somebody could be being gifted something from their father also, or, from most likely a masculine energy in their life. And at the heart of the matter here, atop the Queen of Water, is Moses with some more water. Look, he's standing here parting the Red Sea. He says, take charge of this situation. So that's what you're going to do. And as loving a way as possible, compassionate a way as possible, empathetic a way as possible, you're going to take charge of this situation, make it your priority, and you're going to handle it. Last, for the first time, maybe ever, I'm going to use my surrender cards, because I just felt like this was, maybe because, again, with Rosh Hashanah and the beginning of the days of repentance and letting go of things and forgiveness and all of that, leading up to Yom Kippur, the holiest day on the Jewish calendar, I felt that it was time for this. So I'm beginning with surrender denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are, without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. Surrender your belief in scarcity. So this is like thinking that, there's lack. The universe is asking you to be open to the infinite infinite nature of abundance. We have abundance here, we got abundance here, we got abundance here, and we got abundance here, right? The Three of Fire, the Ten of Earth, flow of prosperity, and the Hierophant sitting atop the green man. That there's no scarcity on this table. In this way, by thinking of all of this abundance, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. I won't do too many of these shuffles. Surrender resentments. Holding on to resentment only poisons you. Try to forgive others for their shortcomings. This is a week of forgiveness. And keep moving forward toward positive situations in your life. Like the masculine has this desire to move forward. Surrender resentments. I'm going to cut. Surrender to setting limits. It's healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs. And remember that no is a complete sentence. Wow. I couldn't have done this on purpose if I wanted to, I don't think. Surrender the drama. So I started with detach from drama before, right? Surrender the drama is our overall energy. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm, okay? Queen of water. Take charge of the situation and be the queen of water. Remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered, like right here at the center of the spread, will help you to resolve the issue more quickly. Here atop the power of joy and the 5 of air, surrender stubbornness. So masculine, again, this is like being conflicted, like you're fighting yourself, cutting off your nose to spite your face, as they say. You could be having the power of joy, but instead you got an attitude because you want to act stink. So instead of doing that, surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and be the queen of water. And to communicate with yourself too more lovingly. I just spoke about talking to yourself, right? And how this can very much be about you, yourself, and you. Atop fertility and the 2 of earth, surrender low self-esteem. You deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release remnants of low self-esteem. So if that's what you're holding on to and why you figure you can't have it all and you can't do everything you need to do and you're feeling all 2 of earthy, let go of that. What else you got to let go of this week, masculine? Non-action. This card is about movement, right? The search for something more meaningful. Desire to move on. But it seems like you haven't done anything. You haven't actually done it. Well, you got to surrender to non-action. Now is the time maybe to be still and not act. Simply breathe and focus on your own power and then let others come to you. So maybe instead of having ants in your pants and wanting to take off, just chill. The top of the 2 of air and priorities for the feminine, surrender your desire to control people. Being overly controlling can sabotage relationships. To more effectively achieve your goals, back off, regroup, and give the situation some breathing room. Atop, see the other person's point of view. This is funny. And the 4 of air, surrender your ego. Damn. Cultivate gratitude, be of service to others, and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. This really speaks to seeing the other person's point of view or looking at something from another's perspective or considering another first. Atop right and the 3 of wands, surrender to silence. So we got a card very similar to the masculines here. I guess in here too, they got self-esteem, we got ego. They got stubbornness. We got control people, across the board. It's the same cards. Here they got non-action. We got silence. So we're there to stop moving and we're to be quiet. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. And it sits here under the 4 of air, which is about recovery and replenishment and also meditation. So very necessary, I think. Feminine. And crowning. Atop the unity card and retreat into nature, surrender to success. How perfect is that? Here atop the green man in the abundance. You are ready to experience abundance. Don't look back at your previous roadblocks or difficulties. Leap into an exciting new world of possibilities. Amen. And atop father, husband, brother, son, and the 10 of earth, surrender to your intuition. Tune into your inner voice. Be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. So then again, this can be your inner masculine, and maybe it will be speaking to you. And at the heart of the matter, take charge of the situation, and Moses, or with Moses, and the Queen of Water, surrender the idea you can fix someone. It's time for a relationship to shift. Well, according to the Queen of Water, relationship's about to get better. So I don't know what the rest of this card says, but here she says a relationship develops to a new level. So that means it's ascending. Here it says it's time for a relationship shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. So I think that means just leave it alone, like non-action, like the masculine was told, and non-control, like the feminine was told. And then, we got your tic-tac-toe in a row. Just let it happen. We can't fix them, but it sounds like there's no need to fix them. Like it's going to improve without our quote unquote help. Lastly, advice to the masculine from the ascended masters: detach from drama. Okay. That's too funny. For the feminine, drink more water. So ascension of our own as individuals too, not just our unions here. To the masculine, it doesn't really work with his non-action. This card guides him to take some kind of action, or to be the recipient, I guess. Page of Water. Page of Water is a Pisces, or maybe a Scorpio, or Cancer. I said Pisces first because Pisces is the more youthful, or the page-like of the water element. The Page of Water is intuitive, sensitive, artistic, and friendly. A new person enters your life. A relationship begins a new phase. Heightened psychic abilities. So we got these two cards here for the masculine: the Queen of Water, the Eight of Water, 3 cards, and the Page of Water, all about like heightened abilities and higher ascension, higher understanding. So you guys listen, like our overall energy suggests, really well. Make sure you listen really well. And when I went to pick this up, I picked up 2 cards by accident. So the other is St. Francis, Follow Your Heart. I didn't mean to pick that up, but it exposed freedom. And under freedom, masculine, is open your heart to love. I can keep going with this. This is all in the same direction. This is the last one in that direction. Choose peace. So the same messages coming through, even accidentally, as to what we're guided to do here. From the angels to the feminine, the 10 of Fire. Too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance, and that leads to stress-related health concerns. So this week, feminine, we're guided to lay down our burdens and put these wands down. Surrender our ego. Maybe that's what we're carrying. Maybe that's what's so heavy. Let that go. And lastly, from the surrender cards to the masculine, surrender denial. Accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. So you got these difficulties here. You got to acknowledge them. And if it's difficulties in a separate relationship, romantic or otherwise, a family, whatever the case is, you got to accept that it's not working out. And for whatever the reason is, maybe it's you, maybe it's them, maybe it's both. Forgive yourself and them, regardless of which is the case, and act, accordingly. Repair the relationship or walk away from it. That's what has to happen. Okay? Because when you accept, then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. Right? You can act accordingly after that. And to the feminine. Surrender to your soul's path. How beautiful is that? Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson, every moment. I hope that you guys enjoyed the weekly reading and found it helpful. I'll be back with love, and I'll be back sometime this week, if not today, very, very soon, with the moon reading. Namaste, angels.